How is that for giving you chills? That was incredible. Annie, I think we're all blown away. You're going to meet Annie in just a moment. You are going to meet Annie in just a moment. We're going to meet Paul Culleton. In fact, could we have all of our special guests please come down stage right? And we are going to have a treat for you because we're going to take you behind the scenes of Team of the Century. Thank you again for joining us today. Please welcome the director of Team of the Century, Annie Stewart. The producer is Paul Culleton. And joining us on stage, we have from the Team of the Century itself, Brandon Prust, Rob Schremp, and team captain, Danny Severette. Well, Annie, we've got to start with you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Can we have one more hand for Annie Stewart? One of the neatest things about this film is how it began. Annie, you've got to take us back because I don't know that it was ever supposed to be this, right?
No.
So what was it going to be?
We originally started this out as a school project. I recently graduated Fanshawe College, taking the Film and Broadcasting and Television program. So we had our end of the year, last project, and we were discussing, it was either between an internship or a capstone project. And so I was discussing with Paul, we were on our way to Danny's U16 game. I'm their media person, so we were on our way to Cambridge to his game. And, I asked Paul, what do you think? And he said, for sure, capstone. We're on our way to CV's game. Let's ask him, if he's good with that. And, he was right on board, hopped in as executive producer, and did our school project. Huge thank you to the cast and crew from that school project. Some are here today, so thank you guys for being here. So that picked up some interest, and we went into the summer and did some more and talked to some more people, and it was awesome. Yeah.
You saw the names of the cast and crew. Can we have the cast and crew please stand up and be recognized, please?
They are.
To see it here, what was that like for you?
Awesome. I mean, that came into process back in early December. So to finally be able to share it with a live crowd and, be able to be public about it, just such a relief and just so happy to be here. And thank you everyone for being here and supporting today. Really appreciate it.
Danny, Rob, Brandon, let's talk a little bit about what this was like for you guys to go back through those memories, because those are pretty incredible memories already. Danny, what was it like to see it all played out?
I actually was coaching my team earlier today, and I just caught the last probably 20 minutes of it. So I will be here on Wednesday to watch it in length and entirety. But there was a couple times up there I got a little teary-eyed, just with the music and everything and how it all sort of hits you. So I'm expecting the rest of the movie I watch will be very similar, but it looked like it was awesome.
Schremp, you might remember scoring those goals from an ice perspective. Now you get to see how great they were from above.
Yeah, no, it was a special time, and now being a little bit older, having a chance to reflect, the feelings that you get when you watch that, it's amazing, and different appreciation of it, and it was such a cool time for all of us, and I remember the specialty of it when we were there. It was an amazing time. We were doing amazing things, but now being a little bit older and I'm not as good a shape as I was back then, I was good once.
I know
Brandon,
a gym
take us
you
through
can go
that.
to.
Sorry, say that again?
I said I know a gym you can go to.
Danny, you have to take us to hoisting the Memorial Cup, because you're one of the only people who hoists it as you do. And we saw it a couple of times in the video. You as a player, you when the team of the century was recognized for the 20th anniversary, you hold it straight up and down. Why?
I just like the way it looks. Like when it's on the table, it's presented very well, and it's like I remember when Dave Branch was ready to call us up, there's lots going through your mind, and I just remember thinking, I'm gonna lift this the same way it's there, like so it showcases sort of its beauty. So yeah, I've just always lifted it that way.
What do you guys remember from that celebration? Rob, maybe take us back. A lot of people here today were probably at the celebration that day or at the parade. Were many of you at the parade? Remember how big that was? Rob, do you have memories from parade day? You guys went golfing in the morning, right?
Yeah, so it was amazing. We had a great day planned, and we all went out and played golf. A big group of us, like probably about 15 of us, were at Forest City National playing golf, and we really didn't know what to expect. I think even during the round on the 15th hole, for whatever reason, we got offered like free pizza money if we went in the pond. So like 10 of us went in the pond. And
Prosty, were you in the pond?
I was in the pond.
I
yeah.
thought you'd be in the pond.
I don't think, and none of us had clothes on. That's for sure. We went for a swim.
There might have been some skinny dipping. So when we showed up, we didn't know what the parade was going to be. We didn't have any expectation. We showed up, and it was like the whole city was there. We're like, oh, whoa, we smelled like pond water, and we had a few beverages. So we got on the back of the trucks, and we just, the fan support was insane. Like that parade was. It was so special. It was an amazing turnout, and it was just a nice little, cherry on top of the cake for us for what we just did, and seeing the fans' appreciation was really cool.
Let's go back to some moments that season. One of the things that gets talked about is the delayed penalty call. Anybody remember the delayed penalty call against the Belleville Bulls? Yeah, that's one of those stories that comes up. I don't know how many of you three were on the ice for. Trempy, you were on the ice for most of it because you had your stick in the air waiting to take shots. But Danny, do you remember how that all started?
I don't remember the penalty. Like lots of teams took them on us, and we usually end up scoring. But I remember there was a delayed penalty. I ended up getting the puck at some point in the delay in our own end, and I think you might have been behind our net, and I just passed it back towards our own net without a goalie, and I remember the crowd be like, because you can see it's going towards the net, and it obviously didn't go in the net, but we reset, and then we kept the puck and play going on for I don't know how long, a minute.
45.
So they didn't touch the puck for a minute and 45, and then we ended up capping it off with a goal at the end of it. But yeah, I don't remember the whole play. We were fortunate to score lots of goals that year, but it was definitely a memorable one.
Rob, you did finish it off, right?
Yeah, no, I remember that it was going on and on. I remember Danny did almost score on his own goal. I was calling for it, and I was like, dude, I didn't want it in the net. I wanted it on the tape. But we wound up wheeling it around, and it kept going and kept going. And I remember Trotter got it. He entered the zone. I thought he was going to throw it away. He didn't, made a nice play. And then it should have been another penalty. Dylan Hunter got buried from behind right before we scored. So right when Dylan got buried, I remember I got a little bit fired up. I'm like, I'm going to make sure I make these guys pay extra. And I walked off the wall, and the crowd started going nuts too because it was like 20 passes and a minute and a half in, and this thing had to end with a goal. So I made a nice move in the middle, ISO'd a guy, jock strapped him, and then the goal was kind of crappy. I usually go bar down. This one was 5-hole, but it squeaked in, and everybody just went nuts. It was awesome.
I think the ref actually switched arms. Like he had his arm up for so long that he ended up losing all the blood circulation.
I was waiting for the guys to change. I was on the bench. I'm like, guys, minute 45. That's a long shift. Like, change up.
EP2, right? Get that out there. Brandon, we got to see a lot of your celebrations. I don't know. Did you use that when you went into pro as well, where you scraped the ice? And speaking of arms in the air, you get your arm up in the air.
I don't know what happens when I score. I just go with it, and I think pro is more fights, so I didn't really celebrate after those. But yeah, I think the arm pump was my go-to goal celebration.
One of the most famous near goals for you is one that, and please, I believe there will be an opportunity to purchase a copy of this. Many of you will want to do that. You have to go back as time is counting down in the Memorial Cup final. okay? These guys are already laughing. The guys are coming off the bench, and you need to look at the screen, and it'll be right in the bottom corner. And Annie does this beautiful crossfade in this, but you see enough of Brandon Prust grabbing the puck and heading down the ice. Prusty, do you want to tell us what was going on there?
Well, you know, when you go out on the ice with 30 seconds left or 40 seconds left, you never really know when the buzzer's going to go. If you're up, especially if you're only up by 1 goal, you know, you kind of play, because sometimes you're like, oh, it's got to be 30 seconds, it's got to be over, and then all of a sudden they get like, you know, 3 more shots. So you just, you know, you're always just playing right to the end. So I was just, puck went out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to hunt this thing down. But the buzzer went, and the crowd was going so crazy, I didn't hear him. And I was skating down, and I just saw the fans standing up. I'm like, oh, I turn around, and there's a celebration going on behind me. So I have to do a big Yui all the way back to the pile-up. So I was a little late to the pile-up.
But that's this team, right? You played to the buzzer. Even with a 4-0 lead in the Memorial Cup final, you were going to play until it was over.
Yeah, that's the way I played. I wait for the buzzer. When the buzzer goes, I'll stop. But the crowd was so loud, I never heard a buzzer.
Annie, how did you find everybody's memory was through this? It's been a while.
They did pretty good. They answered pretty well.
Ubsy, it's
No,
not
you
like
guys
she wasn't visiting us in the old senior home, bud. We're not that old. It's only 20 years ago.
It hasn't been that long. It's been a couple decades, you know? But still, this team, Danny, you guys knew that it would be special. But no one's come near to even touching the stuff that you did. What does that mean 20 years later?
I think that's the coolest part. Like Brandon said, we played hard all the time, and that's why I think you end up getting these scores that are, you know, 8-0, 10-0, 14-0, and it's just the way we were sort of built, and it just kept us getting better and better. But yeah, it was an amazing year to be a part of. I remember we went off we actually lost our first game. We started the season off undefeated, and we lost our first game when a handful of us were away at World Juniors. So myself, Corey Perry, Dave Bolin, Rob Schremp, Dan Fritchie were all away at World Juniors, and the team, our camp was out west, and we actually had a team dinner at Chris Jericho's house, the WWE wrestler, and so we were there, and our team was playing at the time. And this was back pre-cell phone era, so I remember Shea Weber kept running up and down the stairs. They had a landline computer and kept refreshing the score to see, and they're like, London's losing, and the whole team, Team Canada, was all happy as heck. Obviously, Corey Perry and myself were disappointed at the time, and then it ended up coming, oh, it's a final, they lost, and the whole Team Canada team from 2005 were elated, and I just remember looking at Corey, and I'm like, it looks like we know who the target's on now, right? So, and we did that. We had that the rest of the year. We had that every time we went to a building. We were fortunate. And the city of London is fortunate to have the Knights, and vice versa. The Knights are fortunate to have the fan base that they get selling out games all the time. But we had to go every rink we went to, Sudbury, Owen Sound, Kitchener. Every time it was sold out. So we were fortunate to play in front of sold out buildings all the time, and then capping it off as winning the Memorial Cup on home ice was spectacular.
Yeah, Brampton, in its first incarnation, had 2 sellouts in its building. Opening night, and when these guys came to town. Those were the 2 sellouts in that building. It's crazy. But that's the kind of thing that you dealt with on the road. And Brandon, not everything's going to go right. So you must go into the room after periods where things hadn't gone right. That first game against Rimouski in the Memorial Cup, that would be an example. How did this team deal with that pressure, and how did you come out after things weren't going right and turn it around as many times as you did?
Well, I think just like Dale said in the in the documentary there, he said they could be down 4-1 going to the third, and they still believed that they could win. So I think that was the biggest thing for us. We never really panicked. We said, okay, that wasn't our best, boys. Let's regroup. We know what we had to do. We knew how to win. We'd been together. We knew what made us successful. So sometimes if we got away from that, you know, we would just kind of regroup as a team and get back to it. And I always say, we kept it. We had the best players probably in Canada, or the best team, but we still chip pucks. We still put them off the glass and out. And you'd have guys like Robbie Schremp dumping a puck in. That means everybody's buying into a system, right? Robbie doesn't like to dump the puck in. So when you see him dumping the puck in for us to go after and get it, you know that everybody's on board and sticking to the wants to win, wants to do whatever they can to win.
Shrempy, take us through learning to do that, because you could dangle, you could get to the net, you could wind up, you put a top corner in old St. Mike's Arena from the red line. I mean, being able to say, this is what it takes. What's it like to get there?
Yeah, it's part of the process here with the London Knights and the way they do things, and the franchise has had a lot of history of winning, and it's a model. When I first got here, it was a lot of bench time, to be honest with you. I was a grocery stick a bunch of nights and got to watch from the bench, and it made me learn that I didn't have a choice. I had to dump the puck. But it was tough. Yeah, when you play lacrosse with the puck, it's, you want to do fancy things and do this, but that was all part of it. The first year was tough, a lot of friction, and then the next year, like understanding the way to play. It's a team game, and I grew up playing with most of the teams I grew up playing on. I was the best player, and I had the puck all the time. When I came to London, we had a lot of superstars, and there was a lot of chefs. So once you got that trust with your teammates and buying into the system and playing for each other, and it was a lot of fun. Again, in the beginning it was friction, but when we had that season, it was awesome. It was really cool to be able to trust the guy next to you and trust the D and trust everybody and know that we were all in it together. It was so cool, and it was that way. It was spread out. There was no ego. We all bought in, and we all did things for each other. There were plenty of nights where Corey Perry or myself had to call Prusty, hey, this guy's bugging me, come get him. So Prusty always answered the bell, and it was good to have that protection. It's part of it too, as a skill guy, knowing that you got brothers that have your back and will do whatever it takes to make sure you can play your game. It was special. It was cool. We had him, Kelly Thompson, Josh Beaulieu. Like, these guys came in every night and sacrificed their bodies for the team. So it was all encompassing, and yeah, I did eventually learn how to dump the puck, which sucked.
You heard Rob say grocery sticks. You'll never see a grocery stick the same way. If you hang out on the bench long enough, you kind of get shuffled into the middle, and that's why they call you the grocery stick, because you're dividing the forwards and the defensemen. So you're the grocery stick. You'll never look at a grocery stick the same way. Annie, your storytelling is amazing. I mean, you flowed through so many things. You were not front and center watching this in 2005. How difficult was it to build this narrative, build this story, not having been there firsthand?
It was definitely interesting. I mean, I wish I could have been there, you guys. I actually turned 20 this year, so 20th anniversary for everybody up here, I guess. But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I couldn't have done it without you guys and without Danny being by my side throughout this process, and Paul Culleton as well, the producer on this piece. He helped so much, being able to guide, well, we should flip these because that's the order. And I'm like, oh, yes. So it was, in terms of like editing, it was a bit of a struggle, but it was also really interesting to be able to learn about how this played out and how important this piece is coming to be when it came to post-production. Yeah, it was super special to be in production, learning about what happened, and then putting it all together with Paul.
And then following these guys and following what's happened since, and including Don Brankley. Thank you for all of those things. We have a limited amount of time in the theater right now, but if there is anything that you want to know about from anybody here, shout it out, and we will bring that up. Is there anything anybody wants to know about from the team of the century? I can be full of more questions. We got a few.
Breaking Bissonnette's jaw? It was his nose. Yeah, we fought a bunch of times, but the one in London, that was a pretty good one. We've talked about it before together, so I just caught him with a good one and just gave him a little adjustment.
That was the one where you're always pulling for your teammate, obviously, but like you kind of felt bad for Paul. The first one landed, blood starts coming out. The next one splattered blood all over the ice. You're just like, buddy, just give up. We did bring that up on the sandbagger just to make him feel good about it.
Anybody else with anything you want to hear about? There was one in the back, I believe.
In preseason, I remember my teammate Steve McIntyre tracked down this guy Dustin Boyd and almost killed him. And Prusty happened to be on the ice and had to fight this guy. And I was torn between because it's like, obviously Prusty's my buddy and teammate from London, and then now he's against the other team. But Steve McIntyre was like 6'6", 270, and Prusty's tough, but this guy was huge and nails. So Prusty went in there, and I was kind of conflicted on the bench. I'm like, shit, who do I pull for here? So I'm like,
Just hope I don't get killed.
Yeah, just don't kill him, please. He's a good guy.
Brandon, how are you still here in the way that you carved out a long professional career, but you dealt with those guys on pretty much a nightly basis when needed. You're not 6'7", but you still did it. How did you do it?
When I my first year with the Knights, I never never really fought before. And then Chris Bain was our tough guy on the Knights, and I just started fighting him after practice, and he started teaching me all about fighting, and I just started slowly fighting, and I realized I was really good at it. I just had I wasn't like the toughest guy, but I just knew how to outsmart people. I just knew how to fight. But if people are like, "Oh, are you as tough as that guy?" No, he's tougher than me, but I just don't eat as many punches, right? So, you see all those tough guys that go toe to toe, and they're just, these guys are nuts, and you're like, "Oh, who won that fight?" And it's like they both lost. All right, so I never really got myself into that situation. My shoulders were the one that took most of it, just because that was my hold-on shoulder. So all of this of protecting myself, I gave up my shoulder instead of my face. So
It's not a bad choice, though, I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us would take shoulder over face. Anybody else with questions? Yes.
I think the whole building thought there's no way Mark Mathot's going to get this puck from Corey Perry. But the way the play transition, I just remember the entire building, you want to communicate as players. So the bench is always, as it gets a 2-on-1, you want to make sure that the players are aware of it. So the whole bench is yelling 2, but our whole arena was yelling 2. So if you go back and watch it, you can see while they come through the neutral zone, the whole building's like 2. And so Corey Perry enters the zone and then kicks it out to Mark Mathot, who does the right thing and jump in, and he rips it in for his second goal of the game. Sort of unsung hero, because he was a player that played big minutes against hard players, had a task with Sidney Crosby, and sometimes doesn't always get the accolades because you're not on the score sheet. But he was a big part of our team, and obviously it was great for us for him winning that, but also for him getting the accolades, I guess, for doing such. I think it helped him with confidence. Obviously, he graduated off to the NHL and came into town for us. But yeah, he's a great friend of mine. But yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting Corey to pass that, but I'm glad he did, and glad it turned out that way.
Any other questions from, got one right there in the middle?
At the back. Yep. Look.
Do you like to remind Crosby about it?
Do you like to remind Sidney Crosby about that? Dallas, that's an outstanding question.
I think Sid knows. I think he's well aware of what happened in London.
Yeah, we didn't have to remind him. We just gave him the look, right? He knew what it meant.
Anybody else? Yes, right here.
One opposing player you hated playing and still hate.
Everybody's friends off the ice, right?
Yeah, Steve Downey drove me nuts. I couldn't stand it. He was a menace, and we was with Windsor. He was a menace. I played against him at World Juniors here, World Juniors as an American. He's a Canadian. He was a menace, and then the NHL. He's always a pain in the ass. So
I would say probably Mike Richards. I played with him in Philadelphia, but he was always a really hard player to play against because he played hard, he was skilled, his compete level was high. I was fortunate to be his teammate at World Juniors and then with Philly as well. He was a really nice guy. Just every time you played, you knew he was going to bring everything he got, and it was always difficult to play against him.
That's a tough one, but I think like David Clarkson for me was, I battled a lot against him in junior and into pro. I don't know, just, I guess he just bugged me. But I think, we fought a bunch, but even one time he fought me, like he knew I was out there for like 45 seconds and I was going to the bench tired and he just jumped on the ice. It was Montreal, Toronto, and like he grabbed me and I was like, come on, like that's, even his team knew it was gutless. So, stuff like that bugged me, but I've met him off the ice since, we've retired and he's a great guy, but guys that you're always kind of doing the same job as you maybe, always were tough to battle against.
I heard he talks about his $40,000 fridge all the time off the ice. He's not a good guy off the ice. Don't say
A
that.
$40,000 fridge?
He tells everybody.
What's in a $40,000 fridge?
Who jumps a guy late in the shift?
Any other questions up in the back corner?
I just wanted to say I find it interesting that the 05 team didn't have any import players, given how much of a staple they are now, how well they're headliners on teams nowadays.
You almost didn't have room. You had so many guys back from the year before, right?
We had Komatov.
Oh, yeah, Ivan.
Ivan Komatov.
Vadim and Ivan, they got shipped out quick, though.
Moved, yeah. Like I don't think there was a purpose there's a reason why we didn't have Europeans. They are a big part of the game, and it is good that they're coming over to the CHL. And obviously, like you saw last year's team, they helped impactfully. But we for the most part, we were sort of built from within. We were allowed to play as 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and we were the same team. Fast forward 3 years ahead, and also the element. I'm sure it was on the video, but the element of the NHL lockout being there. Like we wouldn't have had. I'm sure Corey Perry probably would have been playing in the NHL. Brandon and Brian Rodney and Dan Girardi would all have been playing in the AHL. So we were fortunate as a team to still retain those players for our final year.
One of the most amazing things is how many people from London were on that roster. I think it's 5. Yeah. Like, Brandon, you were one of 5 players from London on the team of the century.
Yeah, and you know what? The Hunters still try to do that to this day, right? They know that those London boys, there's something in them where they bleed that green and gold, right? So once they kind of saw that, right? Like Kelly Thompson was perfect, right? He came in that last year, and he was just a warrior for the team. So the Hunters still, they always look for those homegrown London boys because they know they wear their heart on their sleeve.
Well, maybe we close it out. You have to tell the story of you in Windsor getting into the lineup for the first time. So Brandon had impressed in training camp, and you went back to the Nationals. And Mark and Dale Hunter called Brandon up, and it was in Windsor, and it just shows what it takes to do something sometimes. Never be afraid to say what it is that you want. You get called into the coach's office, and what did Dale say? He said, "We'll get you to watch from the stands tonight."
Well, it was when they sent me down. So I was there, but they sent me back to the London Nationals. And I just said, put me in and you won't take me out. And then they called me up a couple games later, and I never came out.
Put me in, you'll never take me out. Can we have one more congratulations for Annie Stewart, Danny Severette, Rob Schremp, and Brandon Prust? Thank you, Annie, for bringing back all of these memories. Thank you for being here to share these memories with us, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.